I will speak in English, however, I was born here, so I'm fluent in Slovak and Czech. No wonder I'm the mayor of Prague, so I have to be fluent in Czech. Ladies and gentlemen, vážení slovenskí priatelia, firstly let me thank you, the organizers, on putting together this impressive summit of region and cities. Secondly, I'm glad that it's taking place here in Bratislava, in a wonderful city that I can proudly name my second home when I was born. Our topic for today is focused on making regions and cities smarter, more competitive and innovative. You might object that this is not the most pressing issue we should be discussing right now, but we don't want to talk about the Brits again. Thought we have to admit that there are quite a few populist and extremist attitudes in the place around us, with apparently one aim: tear the EU apart. Well, I have to admit I'm critical to the way how things are handled in our big family. And yes, some family members are not very happy. But that is by far not the reason to give up the idea which is going beyond our fear. That is the idea of building a strong, competitive and safe Europe. We shall never forget and never give up. With regard to the headlines in the media, it seems that the debate about future economic development has taken the backseat. Nevertheless, I would argue that we need to think about smart development in long-term perspective, especially when we representatives of cities are the backbone and the solid foundation for sustainable development. Everybody wants to be smart. Well, it's a buzzword, it's a trendy, it's cool. Apparently, there is no city in Europe without a smart strategy. Adopting a smart strategy for our regions and cities is not a panacea to all issues, of course. I can tell you it's a long and bumpy road between vision and reality. Even the best strategies can get lost and end up forgotten, covered with dust somewhere in the archives. Therefore, I want to stress that only a sound action plan can turn visions into reality. To cut to the chase, we have to implement policies in line with the new growth theory, which reflects the understanding of knowledge and technology in driving productivity and economic growth. In this view, investments in research, development, education, training, and new digital solutions are key. Knowledge-based and digital economy and innovations are the major forces of economic dynamics. When it comes to a role of public authorities, there are fields where interventions are welcomed and fields where activities are uninvited. Today we will examine the first category, where greater cooperation in the area of science, technology, industry, and education is very needed. In words of John Stuart Mill, these are cases in which reasons against interference do not turn upon the principles of liberty. The question is not about restraining the actions of individuals, but about helping them. Personally, I don't believe there is one fit-for-all solutions in order to make your city smart. Given various cultural, economic, and historic aspects, each city or region cannot take the same path. Copying of the success of someone else will not get you far. My role here is not to tell you how to kick off smart development in your city or region. I can only share with you my experience, my Prague experience. My starting point was to realize that public authorities don't innovate. It's not us, but them, universities, companies, and people. We can only outline directions and create a positive environment in which knowledge-driven economy can flourish. Therefore, a really smart governance should rather enable dialogue than try to lead smart development. But enough with theory, let me give you some numbers. Prague has an enormous potential. 12 public universities and 30 private colleges. 36 of all students, university students in Czech Republic, 36% are studying in Prague. 37 out of 57 institutes of Academy of Sciences are settled in Prague, and 23,000 people are employed in the R&D sector. Let me mention 3 concrete examples from our SMART program. 2 months ago, we had the pleasure to open the European Space Agency Business Incubator Center. Prague, as a regional partner, offered its resources and full-fledged support. In other words, it is almost 1 million euros in free-of-charge offices in the city center. SABIC supports innovative entrepreneurs and promoters who utilize space digital technologies and systems for terrestrial application. The goal is to incubate 50 startups in the next 5 years. Moving on to the second example. 3 months ago, Prague Startup Center was opened. It is a place where innovative SMEs and startups can find support, advice, in a friendly environment. The city itself provides offices with reduced rent. However, the companies must be capable of producing a profit. Only then they receive other support and advice from other partners of the project. The Prague Startup Center has been developed in partnership with many organizations. For instance, the Hatchery, a New York-based incubator that builds and sells companies in partnership with major corporations, launched a new investment and an innovation lab here in Prague. And finally, the third example. That is the operational program Prague Growth Pole. In the next 5 years, the city of Prague will invest 125 million euros into strengthening research, technological development, and innovation. 50% of the program is co-financed by the European Union and 50% by the city of Prague. These 125 million euro are not an empty promise, which will never be fulfilled. On the contrary, it is a joint commitment of Prague and the EU. To conclude my speech, I strongly believe that today we have to take an advantage of the summit to exchange views on how to make our cities and regions smarter and more collaborative, because that's our Europe, that's our home. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.